Hey Bobby, book promotions.
Yeah, y'all. It's a new day, y'all. Yeah. We got some business to take care of. Lots of business. The people are dying every day, shedding tears every way. Oh my God, I feel their pain. Oh my God, who's to blame? We need another day to see the light, a new way to stop this fight. Peace in the hood is on its way, and peace in the hood is here to stay. 'Cause it's a new day, it's a new day.
The views, opinions, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this following program and comments on this channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of all persons involved in this program. Listener and viewer discretion is advised.
Everything's going good, you know. We've been working with the homeless a lot.
Yes,
and,
sir.
Another reason I want to do this show, because it kind of could tie back into what you just asked me about, where we at too.
Yes, sir.
So, but we're talking about homeless in 2021. You've been a long time advocate, you know. I mean, a mentor to me and others that's been in that field. You know,
36 years, Bobby. 36 years, OG.
Yeah, and I've been doing it for 20. You know what I mean? So
you know the deal.
You know what I mean? So and that's what I want to say. You know, we got, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this show, we got the one and only Mr. Ted Hayes on this show with us. Okay, so if you want to talk about homeless, you want to talk about the government, you want to talk about a lot of stuff, this is a man right here that has a lot of information. Okay, factual information. So I know a lot of you people out here done heard about him, but now you're gonna see him and let him talk for himself. So one of the things I want to bring up,
yes, sir.
First of all, I know you when you had Dome City.
Yes, sir.
And it was amazing because you did a lot of work prior to that.
Yes,
you
sir.
Know what I mean?
8 years of activism.
Yeah, I don't even know all. Yeah, definitely activism. I don't even know all the details. But when you sat down and talked to everybody, but
yes,
we
sir.
knew it happened. It happened.
Yes, sir.
It was going on. So it's got to tie in. What happened to Dome City?
People who are out here in the name of the homeless, perpetrating the fraud as to who they are as advocates and activists. I discovered, took me a few years because I was kind of naive, but it took me a few years and I finally understood what was going on. There are people, homelessness is an industry, the homeless industrial complex, billions of dollars are being made at it. Homelessness is also a political arena. There are people out here call themselves activists who want homelessness to be what you see on the streets because they say that is the evidence that homelessness and poverty is a result of American capitalism. And so, in fact, they even said, falling behind what I was saying, that the reason that we have a highly disproportionate number of Black citizens who are homeless is due to systemic racism. But they always put the systemic racism on other people and never putting it upon themselves. So it was difficult enough having Justiceville. They got, I didn't know that, but they undercut Justiceville, the first shantytown encampment. Then over the 8 years that I was lobbying and protesting and doing numerous civil disobediences about homelessness and that we had a plan, finally, we were able to construct the Dome Village. And in fact, they said what I was calling for was an impossibility. They even said, well, brother, they said, Ted, look, man, why don't you take that and go to a small town somewhere, try it out there before you try the major city like Los Angeles. I said, no, it's got to happen here in the national capital of homelessness. We got to make that statement. And they fought it tooth and nail for 8 years. I didn't know this. And then finally, when the village was brought together, none of the activists from downtown came to salute what the nigga had pulled off that nobody thought he could pull off, right? Then for the whole 13 years that we existed there, we was attacked from social service agencies, from the activists, and they would go to the politicians, the mayor and the city council people say, Ted's crazy. He got ulterior motives. He's just seeking publicity.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Right? They'll call you crazy for sure. The
Putting
other
salt
thing
on
about
you.
Dome
Putting
City,
salt on you. So they would not support it.
okay, the other thing about Dome City, I just want to bring into mind, because when you say they'll call you crazy, you know, they say the same thing when I'm talking about, you know, Skid Row used to need kids. There's no such thing as a community without any kids.
Right.
Okay. You know, you won't build no family units on Skid Row.
Right.
But you want to call it a community. There's no such thing as a community without kids. So everything they do is anti-kids, even like you say, even the activists are anti-kids.
Right.
They're not lobbying for, you know, the parks. Right. They don't lobby to have swings and slides in the parks. What they'll do is tell the city, there shouldn't be no kids down here. So I know what you said about crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but at Dome City, you had families, didn't you?
We had kids, we had children. We had pets. We were the first facility that allowed single men, single women to share the same space. Families with children to share the same space with single people. Pets. First one had pets. Gays could be there. We didn't care what your thing was, man. We had, I think, 2 actual transvestites, man. You know, transsexuals lived there. Nobody bothered them. We had Muslims, Christians, Jews, atheists, Wiccans, Black, white, Hispanic, Latino, Asian. You know, so and that scared them, and so they had to fight it. So finally, the property owner got mad at me for my activism, and I understand. I'm not mad at him. I guess I'd done the same thing. But he raised my rent from $2,500 to $18,500. I could have a month. I could have stayed there and fought and made a big deal out of it. But I believe in private property ownership, and if the man wants you to go, you got to go. So that's, you know. Whereas if it's public property, you can fight that. But I'm not gonna fight nobody about their private property.
So this kind of ties in what I was asked, and you can go a little broader with it. What misconceptions, you know, do you want people to know? Because people think you got a couple about $10 million stashed somewhere. Yeah, you know, even brothers in prison, there's a myth about me that I'm a multimillionaire and that I have several houses in Orange County, pads up here in Beverly Hills. But for those guys, it doesn't come off as a negative. It comes off as, damn, that brother gave up all that to be with the homeless and stuff like that. But it's not true. And I'll tell you where it started. Was when I first came out and became homeless on purpose. I left my family, my children. I didn't abandon them. I just had to go and live on the sidewalks downtown on Skid Row to know what this was all about. And as Justiceville began to develop, the media started coming around there on 6th and Gladys near the hippie kitchen, that little lot right there. Mm-hmm. And I was getting a lot of notoriety. And so, in fact, I told my wife, I said, now, she lived out in a town outside of LA. And I said, look, be ready, because at some point the media is going to come here and they're going to surprise you, going to ask you about me. And sure enough, one day Channel 2 went out to where I used to live, my wife, with camera, live with the camera, got right in her face, came all up in the house and showed the apartment that we lived in. And the way they put it out there was it made the general public think that I was a wealthy man. And so after a while, I got tired of denying it. And so, because I found that most people who say that, they look at me like, wow, brother, that's pretty cool that you would do something like that for us. Yeah. So I let people go ahead and believe what they want to believe, as far as that goes. Yeah. You know, so, but no, you can go look at my bank account. You go see, I ain't got nothing, man. Shoot, one for SSI and some friends, I'd be on the sidewalk right now. I know how you feel. You know, people think I got $10 million. You know what I mean? So it's leading me to some stuff now. I want to ask you about the 14th Amendment.
Yes, sir.
Real big on this 14th Amendment. Okay, tell me why, and as far as it applies to black people or people in general.
The 14th Amendment is the law, the constitutional law that granted the freed slaves and the freemen, that is black people who were not slaves during the 45 years of chattel slavery. After they were freed and the 13th Amendment was written, abolishing slavery except in prison, the people realized, the legislators, Republicans, in fact, the radical Republicans realized, well, who are these people? We're going to have to make them citizens. So they created a congressional law called the Civil Rights Act, which gave us our citizenship with white citizens, equal to them. And but then they realized, though they're citizens now, this is only a congressional act, and a Congress later on can come along and repeal that act, their citizenship, and then they're vulnerable. So we're going to have to shield them. So let's take the Civil Rights Act and codify it, embed it deep within the Constitution, lock it in there so nobody can take it from them. And one day, when they learn to read, because 99% of us did not know how to read. One day, and those who did know how to read, most of them did not know how to comprehend what it was that they was reading as they look at this America that we lived in. They said one day, when these people learn to read and comprehend what they read, they'll look into this Constitution. They will see that they are the heart and soul and center of the law, and they are the heart and soul and center of this nation. And that is only through them by which America shall survive. They will empower themselves, and in turn, they will save the rest of America. This is our destiny. And this is why the Democrats hated Donald Trump so much. Because of all people, and I'm not a Trump fan, never have been, probably never will be. But of all people that got my attention, of all the presidents since Abraham Lincoln, that man said within weeks of his announcement, the 14th Amendment belongs to black people because African Americans. He said it belongs to black people and only black people. He said that this whole business of people coming into the country pregnant, illegally into the country pregnant, or come into the country illegally and then have a baby, and that baby is a citizen based on the 14th Amendment, that is absolutely incorrect and it's an offense against black people, and I'm gonna fight it. And that's why they hate that man. Because the whole illegal immigration movement, the heart of it is the 14th Amendment, theft of the 14th Amendment. Because what they're looking at is every year, the last statistics I had, and I'm not just picking on Hispanic Latinos, but that is the majority of what's coming through here, right? And every year, from what I'm hearing, you go look it up, anywhere from 62 to 68,000 Hispanic Latino kids, teens, become 18 years old. That's the magic voting number. And this is what the Democrats and Republicans are fighting over. They want to get that Latino vote because, see, shortly, because if you're born in this country and you're given an automatic citizenship, even though your parents were here illegally, when you grow up to be 18 years old, the more that happens, these numbers will eventually outnumber our vote. And when we are outnumbered by vote, we will become politically inconsequential, which means anybody can do anything they want to us because we lost our heritage and our inheritance.
That's a good point, because if you look at the statistics now, you already know we're talking about 1960, 65, black people were the largest minority vote in this country. And I always talk to them about that, about not having children, because we were don't have no kids. They would always tell you, get a good education, get a degree, don't have no kids till you get this education. While we were declining, Everybody else was increasing their numbers of votes. Now, today, 2021, our vote we're secondary to the Hispanic vote. Okay, that's a fact. All right, and then on top of that, we got a generation locked up in the prisons that don't vote at all. You know what I mean? Then you got a large population of it, like you said, couldn't read or write. We're at a comprehension level right now. Even though they can read, they don't comprehend what you just saying about the vote. You know, I was just going over some stuff in my mind yesterday about the fact that in certain states, if you don't vote during the primary, in between the presidential election, you lose your right to vote.
Wow.
You can't even vote when the presidential elections come around.
You don't participate in
I just talked to Bobby about this not too long ago. The majority of us, even I'm looking at a lot of the activists, they just starting to vote. They in their 40s. Yep. They ain't voted all in 20, 30 years. So, yeah, but I was just pointing out, we are, as far as voting right now, we're the smallest minority. I mean, we under the Latino vote, man. And I don't think as a group of people, we even understand the value of our vote. You know what I mean?
Well, brother, this is why my number one emphasis is to make sure that every Black citizen in America knows about their federal super citizenship status as Black citizens. Now, when you read this law, it's got 10 sections to it. And section 1 says that we are supposed to experience a citizenship as is enjoyed by white citizens. People say the Constitution is colorblind. No, it ain't. It identifies color. It identifies Black and white, those two colors, because that's all was here. And then he says in section 2, he said, it says, anybody in the government, from the president to Supreme Court, Congress members, appointed, whatever, that violates the citizenship right of these protected people here can be arrested, prosecuted, if found guilty, punished. That includes the president. It goes on to it talks about in section 3, the power that you and I as Black federal citizens have with the circuit and the district courts of the United States. It also talks about we have power with the Department of Justice and all federal marshals. It also goes on to say that it addresses the military. According to the Emancipation Proclamation, where it starts, I'm reading something to y'all in a minute, the military has been assigned by the Constitution to protect us. We are the only, us and the Indians are the only protected, constitutionally protected people in this country. And there's a reason for that. Well, I digress, but moving forward, he addresses the military, it addresses the Supreme Court, but it addresses the President of the United States 3 times, specifically. When you read it and comprehend it, you begin to realize that the President of the United States is our personal bodyguard. He is our champion. In order for him to fulfill his constitutional oath, it is imperative that he finishes what Abraham Lincoln started, or the Union and the Republic shall be lost. When we say Black Lives Matter, this is the true matter of Black lives in the United States. And when we understand this, enough of us, don't take all of us, but enough of us, we have the power to actually, as a body politic, go to the president, let's say on the issue of homelessness, say, Mr. President, this is the matter. This is what we want you to do with it. This is the time frame we'd like for you to do this in. This is the budget. And these are the people going to supervise you and the government when y'all implement our plan. If the president says no, or if he begins it and doesn't finish it on time, he's dragging, we have the authority to go to the United States Pentagon, to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, lay out our complaint about the president. And the Joint Chiefs of Staff will go down to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and put the president of the United States in jail. Then you impeach him when he's found to be committed a crime. High treason. See, that's the power. This is why they fight so hard to keep us distracted, particularly keep our noses out the book. And the first thing they say, you want to hide something from black people? I don't know how you do that. Write it down. Put it in a book. And for goodness sake, stick it in the Constitution of the United States and tell the niggas, y'all not in there. And they won't investigate it. They'll believe it.
Well, you right about that. You know, I want to get to what we need to be doing in 2021, but I want to just remind you and remind everybody, what you're saying is basically you want them to live up to what they wrote themselves.
They wrote these laws. We didn't write these laws. They wrote them.
They wrote all this stuff up, and basically black folks has been asking them to live up to the words that they wrote. Now, me personally, I don't believe they're ever going to do it, because I look at the Indians. They broke 500 treaties with them. So I understand what you're saying, but I haven't found nothing in history where they live up to their own words.
Well, that's not true. That's not true, because they have, you know, you got to watch out and indicting that the white man is hopeless.
No,
that he's done nothing good. That he's done nothing good, because he has. You know, like anybody else in the world, no matter what country you're from, the government will break and make treaties, break them, make laws and break them. In this country, it says this, and I'm just writing some white folks here about this here in Venice, because they're crying the blues about Biden and the mayor and homelessness and the sheriff. They're crying the blues out here. I'm saying, wait a minute. Y'all cannot, according to the Constitution of the United States, you cannot cry the blues about what they're doing wrong, because the Constitution says we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, and ensure domestic tranquility. It doesn't say the president or the mayor. And if they're not doing their job, just like an employer hire somebody, and that person don't do their job, you can't blame the flunky employee. You got to blame the employer for not supervising him. And see, the reason we black folks have not gotten ahead in the last 70 years, especially because Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Jesse Jackson, and the rest of them up to today didn't know what the frick they were talking about. Not that they were bad. It just wasn't God's timing. I know a gentleman, he just passed away 3 years ago. I met him through another gentleman. Turns out this man's named Dr. Marion Woods. You look him up, Dr. Marion Woods of Sacramento. Dr. Marion Woods was a personal friend of Martin Luther King. They stayed together at Morehouse. They roomed together. They went to class together. They marched together. He was there in 1963 when Dr. King said the promissory note. Y'all take this promissory note now and go down to the Bank of Justice and cash it. Okay. And I asked the brother, I said, sir, because I want to do this national campaign, I need your endorsement. I said, sir, when y'all said promissory note, was y'all talking about the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the 14th Amendment? He said, young man, that's exactly what we was talking about. We just did not have the comprehension to go forward, but you got my endorsement. You tell them, you tell America, you tell black people that Martin Luther King's friend said, the promissory note is the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the 14th Amendment. You better own up to it. And see, the reason why, here's propaganda. And I've heard it all my life, and I ignore it. The white man ain't gonna let you. Good idea, but the white man ain't gonna, or they ain't gonna. You know what? When they said, Ted, you crazy, you'll never build a dorm bridge downtown, I ignored that bullshit. Excuse my language, that bull defecation. And I move forward. There's always a precedent. And what I'm calling for is unprecedented in 244 years of United States history. This is why when I went to the White House last year, and I bumped heads with them over there about all of this, and they said, you know what? You are right, but where's your army? Where's your followers? Who are you accountable to? Because you are not talking about just merely helping the homeless or resolving black-white issues. You're talking about altering the course of the Republican form of government, aren't you? I said, yeah. And that's why I'm having difficulty, because I'm not your average homeless activist out here. I am an activist before I became a homeless activist. I saw homelessness as the tool, as the leverage to not just liberate our peoples, but everybody else in the country. That's where I'm coming from. And see, when I first came out, I became homeless on purpose. And the reason why I came up with Justiceville and the Dome Village, because I came with the attitude in the 1980s, think globally, act locally. Think globally, act locally. And so we came up with Dome Village as a global model. And that's what scared these activists, man. Even, I'm gonna tell you our worst enemy, y'all. Us. It's us. It's our own leadership. There are non-Black people in power downtown LA who would love to get behind what I'm saying, but they're scared. Because if Maxine Waters and Karen Bass and the Negro leadership or the African-American leadership in this town, and if Jesse and Al and all them people don't endorse me or stand with me, they say, we can't touch you, Ted. You're right, we can't touch you, because if we touch you, they'll say that you are our puppet. They'll say that we got you in our back pocket. They said, you go out there and you build yourself an army, become parity with them, then we can back you up, because then they can't accuse us of that. See, this is our problem. Conservative and liberal African Americans. I know people, brother. OG, I know people who's around Trump all the time, right? Black folks. They know me, right? Ain't gonna say no names. And when I said to them, look, y'all, we need to show the president how to deal with that 14th Amendment thing, because he's the only president since Lincoln to bring the subject up, right? This is a home run for us. You know, them Negroes would not allow me to meet the president. All they do is pick up the phone and say, Mr. President, there's a brother out in Los Angeles. He's got a strategic national plan for homeless, but he also understands the 14th Amendment. We think you should get with him, sir. Not once. They wouldn't do it. I'm gonna tell you why, my brother OG, because cats like you and me and Bobby, we ain't college educated. We're not of that ilk. We're not wealthy. And they scared that they don't want to follow people like us. They don't want to follow people like us. They put all that money, time, and education, and they can't figure out this stuff, and we can.
Now,
No.
what's the organization you working with now with the homeless? I was reading a little bit about
Justiceville, still Justiceville, nonprofit 501c3.
Okay.
I'm the oldest. We have probably the oldest, one of the oldest nonprofits in the city that started from the sidewalk, man, homeless people.
And your solution for the homeless here today?
We call it the comprehensive strategic national policy and plan. That's what we call it. And I've been saying that for 36 years. And now the situation is where it's like a ripe fruit ready to be picked. We got to organize ourselves like we're doing right now. If y'all want to, you can go to Dome Village, www.domevillage.us, domevillage.us. You can also go to www.nf2now.us. Okay, and that'll give you a basic understanding of the national plan that I've been calling for 36 years. Now, the group I'm working with out here in Venice Beach, I'm teaching them the same thing. And I'm teaching them that what y'all don't know is that back in 1998, in October of 1998, after battling with the city council, Councilwoman, the Honorable Rita Walters, heard us, and she wrote a resolution that called for a national plan and the President of the United States to step in. She was the first to do that. That same year, Yvonne Brathwaite Burke in October, she introduced the same thing to the Board of Supervisors. And then on January 6, 1999, the Board of Supervisors unanimously passed what I was saying that we need to get presidential action according to a national plan. Then in March of 1999, the city of Santa Monica did the same thing. Then here's the big one. Then in the spring of 1999, I've been working with Jim Horn, the city attorneys, all under Tom Bradley. I've been working with Sheriff Leroy Baca. When he was sheriff, I was working with Eric Garcetti's dad, Gil Garcetti, on this project. I was working with Captain Bernard Parks on this project. We worked with the city, with the state attorney general, who's now Congressman Bill Lockyer, and we worked with the Los Angeles County Police Chiefs Association and Los Angeles County Police Officers Association, and they all agreed that what I was saying is absolutely correct, and they end the conversation with, we call upon the president of the United States to implement it. My name is on the document, it's in it, I signed it, they all signed it. The activists kept it quiet. But you know what? That's a foundation that's already laid, that all we have to do now, Brother OG and Bobby Buck, is spread the word that, you know, OG Ted, man, you know, nigga been around for 36 years, right? Nigga must know something. But I heard he's got a plan. Yeah, brother got a plan, man. It's a whole national plan, man. No, yeah. Want to hear it? Let's get with the brother, man. Let's find out how we can work together to make this happen from different angles, because that's one brother knows. You know what? I'm gonna cut it here, man. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
It used to hurt. It used to hurt, but I learned that people can't help themselves, man. I ain't mad at nobody. I learned to not be mad at folks. But for years, you know, over years, people come to me, oh, Ted Hayes, man, OG brother, man, you whoop, 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 you start all this. And then they proceed to tell me about the homeless, the numbers, the statistics, and what they, the mentally ill, and then tell me they're doing a program that they want me to support. And I'm like, I try to be polite, man, look, I built a Dome Village just to prove I can do something, but I am not a social service provider. I'm a strategist. Yeah. And instead of them come and say, Brother Ted,
let me join in.
What can we do to support what you're doing, brother? Because you laid the foundation. And I don't get that. But that's okay. I learned, okay, in time they will, in time. I just gotta,
you know, me and Bobby, we've been doing our research, you know what I mean? And I want to thank Reverend Shaw for hooking us up, because, you know, I couldn't get in contact with you.
Who's Reverend Shaw?
Fred Shaw. Wasn't it Fred Shaw that
found Fred Shaw? Yeah, I know Fred Shaw.
Yeah, I know you know Fred Shaw. He the one that hooked us up, you know, because I was looking for you and I couldn't find you, you know what I mean? Not the way I wanted to find you, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you know, he finally came through. It was about a month or so ago.
Yeah, because
he finally got back with me.
Yeah, he texted me.
Yeah.
And I texted him back and said, yeah, sure. You know, I said, but however, I want to focus, you know. He said, cool. And that was, and then Bobby Buck called. Yeah, and then told me, I said, okay, OG.
So like, basically, again, it's trying to get that program out, you know what I mean? Where people can read it to the right people.
Yes.
You know? And so, you know, that's what me and Bobby are going to try to work with you on. This is right here, just an intro, but I know you got a lot of stuff in writing. And
yeah, back it all up with writing. But you know what, OG, I've been thinking on this, you know. They said like 40 million black folks, 40 million black citizens in this country, right? Brother, whether you're with the Bloods, the Crips, light skin, dark skin, rich, poor, homeless, famous, whatever, unprivileged, whoever you are, even if you don't like each other, one thing we all have in common is the 14th Amendment. If all of us could say 14th Amendment unanimously together, that creates a natural energy of unity. It creates a power base. And all that power base needs now is a plan and a strategy to address the various issues that affect our people.
You need like a spark,
Yeah.
So we're gonna be talking to you too because we need a 14th Amendment shirt. Something people can see every day.
Yes. That's why I got that.
See every day. So we're gonna talk to you about marketing strategies. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, my brother.
Okay, so
I'm talking about billboards. I'm talking about getting people to get on the internet with it.
We stay grassroots, all that though. You know what I mean? They need to see it every day and be able to read it. You know what I mean? And just like you said, comprehend it. Because again, like I said, like so many people. I know so many. I got out of prison in 76. I was
really? You went to visit the big man in his house, in the big house?
I was up there with Huey and all of them.
Stop it.
And so by the grace of God or whatever, I went to work. My godfather Dick Gregory. Okay.
I knew Dick Gregory. We were friends, man.
So
Dick Gregory. I've been
mentored by the best. You know what I'm saying?
Hey. I'm trying to cut you off, but listen, you're gonna like this. Everywhere I go, people say, you look, are you Dick Gregory?
Yeah, you look like you.
Don't they? I was in Australia, man, going through customs, leaving, and she said, Mr. Gregory, we hope you enjoyed your stay.
All that great, you favor him.
I said, I'm gonna call Dick up. I didn't get there fast. I said, man, hey, look here, brother. You owe me. you gotta pay because I'm keeping you out there on Front Street.
I was gonna say I've been voting since I was 26.
Wow.
And I've been doing voter registration, all of that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a long-time member of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I worked with a lot of PAC members. I'm a registered Republican. I don't believe in neither one of them, but I like to know what's going on. So since everybody was over here, I went over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, like, I don't care what party you're in, you should be trying to bring the bacon home.
Teach my brother.
Instead of trying to get all loyal. No, bring the bacon home.
No, they keep the bacon. They keep the bacon.
We don't both need to be in the same party. That ain't gonna work.
Exactly.
All you're gonna get is a one-sided information. So you need other people. But some people get over and get all loyal. Because I got over there and I was seeing some of them side busters.
Yeah.
There wasn't really no from the neighborhood. There was just some side busters playing politics.
That's right.
So anyway, again, like we have a committee for community politics.
Right.
And I learned that from my godfather because it embraces all kind of political affiliations.
Yes, sir.
Bring the bacon home. Bring the bacon home. Don't be coming back trying to sell me no whoop ticket about Harris Biden project.
Yeah.
You don't hear nothing from Harris.
Yeah.
She's so quiet. They gave her a job just to shut up.
Yeah.
She's the vice president. Whatever all that talking she was going to do. All the alumni came out behind Harris. Oh, she's the vice president. Huh, come on. We had a president couldn't even do nothing. He was black. So what do you think a black vice president gonna do? So don't go for the hype. They like to get it on the hype. On the hype. Because you ain't heard nothing about the her meeting with Cube with the black contract for Black America. You ain't heard nothing about her. So it's where we go from here now. Because we already know in 2024, they already got a plan. They got a plan. And we need not to put all our baskets, because hey, I'm about to go find Trump my own self. I ain't lying. I don't see nothing from Biden. I ain't lower than none of them. I might be down there in Florida in a minute.
You cut it out, brother. You quit.
Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. I ain't about to no crazy stuff. Y'all all crazy. Biden has sold us out already.
Well, he told us that, though.
I got a big infrastructure bill. Yeah, he's scared. So man like that is half out of his head already. He have lunatic already.
Yeah. Because
he accomplished his goal was to be president. Yeah. That's all he wanted. That little dad, our president, he's gonna retire. He's gonna get his $200,000 a year for a lifetime.
Yeah.
He's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
We gonna be out holding the bag. He talking about his own self. There's no America ain't racist. That one I ain't going for it. part of culture. It's part of culture. I grew up with, I did time with the KKK, skinhead, Hell Angels, all that. We cool. We cool.
Wow.
But once you chuck them up with them like this here, and they respect you man on man.
Right.
It's about man on man.
Right.
Okay? And you got to prove that on the battlefield.
Right.
Okay? After we got past that, most of them want a white country. They just want, some of them want a little area for it just to be white.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at you. You want to be able to be white?
That's your business. Your prerogative.
Hey, I was in the drug game. I dealt with white people.
Right. All the time.
I don't know if they were prejudiced or not. They just sold me some drugs.
It's all about business.
It's all about business. So that's what black people need to get to. It's about business. It ain't about liking Biden or liking Harris.
Business.
It's about business. And if you know anything about business, people will sell you down the drain. That's what Trump told them. I'm a businessman. So
I'm going to do business for America.
Why would you think, I know a lot of developers. We know some landlords. They'll lie to you in a minute.
Yeah.
So why would you think Trump going to get in there and start being honest? He was a businessman.
Businessman.
Businessmen lie all the time.
And so that's why you make perfect sense. And I'm glad you're saying this, because I want the folks to understand something. In 1776, when the United States was born by the Declaration of Independence, we were living human property. We had no say, no business in this man's house.
The majority of it. 60
years later, in 1866, after the Civil War, when 740,000 young innocent white boys and men and 30,000 black boys and men slaughtered themselves over and because of us, whether you like or not, these people recognized that in order for people who have been living for 245 years in that condition, born a slave, live a slave, die a slave, their children, when they're born to them, are not theirs. And these people are going to have economic, political, and psychological and emotional issues for generations yet to come. It's going to be bad for these people. I don't care what color you are. Any human beings that are forced to live the way these particular human beings have had to live would have a similar outcome. So this is not about skin color. It's about the experience that these people have gone through. Therefore, in order for them to do business with this government for themselves, they've got to have powerful credentials. And the credentials have got to be so powerful that they will seem like a super citizenship, because they will be able to conduct business, past, present, and future, in an intelligent way with the federal government. And that's why it's important, my brothers, that we really begin to put our heads to this thing and formulate this campaign. Because once we get this power now, once we got the power, we can do anything we need to do around homelessness, our brothers killing each other, poverty, whatever our issue is as a Black people, we will have the credentials. For example.
Well, now we running out of time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I want to just kind of end on that note so people understand this is what we ought to try to get. Because I remember they used to holler, all power to the people, all that kind of. We need to really understand what power is.
Here's power.
How to exercise. Your power. You know what I mean? So I don't want to give them too much. This is a good start.
ALG.
Yes, sir.
I just wanna in closing out here, just want to salute you, for staying alive and that great power on your face and on your head. I just want to, and what you've been doing for the last 20-some years out there, brother. You have not given up. You stayed with it. You got the right kind of spirit and attitude for leadership. And I just want you to know that, and I appreciate you. All right.
Because I kind of figured I was like piggybacking on what you was doing when you wasn't there. So I figured, you know, it's just a continuation. So now I see we can bring it all together.
Hey, my brother.
I mean? You know, with what we doing, what you already got going on, already built, we just coming and bringing it all together. And
my brother.
We already, you know, already in contact with people. Bobby too in St. Louis, Georgia, Alabama,
good.
All these different places. So that's
we'll
what
hook
this
it all up.
podcast been for, to bring people together. And a big group of people in LA already. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
You know what I mean? So thank you, sir. Thank you, Bobby.
Bobby, with your Skid Row shirt on.
Yeah, look at it.
I've used that image a lot.
I still believe that the homeless is an underrated, underestimated force.
You said it, brother. You exactly right. You couldn't have said it any better.
So we on the move, and
absolutely
it goes back to what I was gonna say. Maybe Bobby, we can cut this one out.
Okay. All right, y'all.
Hey.
Hey, Bobby, book promotions.
Yeah, y'all. It's a new day, y'all. Yeah. We got some business to take care of. Lots of business. The people are dying every day, shedding tears every way. Oh my God, I feel their pain. Oh my God.